Hey guys, welcome back. Got a T45 trans out of Little Black Betty here. It's making a whining noise. It shifts great. Shifts really smooth still, but has been making a whining noise. I suspect there's bearing. Not so great anymore. It's raining outside. Hopefully the audio isn't too bad here. I'm going to start by taking the shifter selector out. I've already popped the little roll pin in, so there's a little detent. Oh yeah, a little detent ball under here, a ball and spring. When you get this off, don't lose them. They will get sent. Bit of a pain in the arse here to get the shifter rod out of the way. There she is. So there's your little spring. Here's your little shift detent ball. That gives you a positive stop when you're into the gears. Now onto the tailstock. I'm gonna throw that right into my socket swimming pool. Going to attempt to make you see as much as I'm doing here without wearing the GoPro on my forehead. All these tailstock bolts come off with a 13mm socket. This thing's been apart numerous times already. Keep in mind, I'm not a transmission builder. Don't claim to be. I'm just not scared to rip shit apart. They're not real light, about 120 pounds. On the bottom corner, there's a groove here, a little recess. That's what you use to split these cases. You don't go where they're nice and flush and a nice surface. You find that little recess and you try and get it apart. And there's enough silicone gasket maker schmoo on here. She's glued together pretty good. Not that it was a lot on there, but doesn't take a lot. I'm hoping I've got all the bolts out at this point. Yeah, you can hear it starting to separate. We got another one of these little recesses on this side as well. Well, this is not going to be a real fun teardown by any means. There's really not a whole lot of T45 teardown and rebuild videos on the YouTubes. So let's see if I can add one more at least. So there's our reverse / fifth shift fork. This is that main shift rail, and this will come into play later once I get the bell housing off to get that fork as well. There's a good little trick on that. So take that, I'm going to throw it on the ground there. Try not to damage the little truck. We've got our clutch fork in here as well. We've got to pop that out. So that simply slides back and you pull it right off with the throw-out bearing. Same with going in there. And you get it in place and slide it back over the pivot ball. And that fits into the fork. We'll also put that back there. I think there's 12 or so bolts in here. Also a 13mm. I originally had this built and had a lot of good parts put into it. Amp Industries or Amp Distributing. Billet shift forks in the 2.3 and 3.4s. Billet keys. Carbon fiber synchros. A lot of good parts. 26 spline input as well, and I don't want to twist this thing apart. I got a 4.6 twin turbo in the little truck, so. But now she's making a bit of noise again. I drive like an animal. I blame no one but me. Try not to break your ears off where you're prying or where you're. I'm going to release all the shmoo out of this transmission. If you've got this far, a bearing race that goes in here. There's a bearing race that goes in here for the cluster shaft. So there's shims under these, which set all your preload on the bearings. So I'm going to set this over here for a second. Try and get my input shaft out of there. It's a bit of wiggling. There she goes. There she goes. So that's that 26 spline input shaft. Once I get this all tore down, I'm going to be inspecting all the bearings. It's making, like I said, it's making a whining noise, and I'm not super happy about it. So now this reverse fork, there's a roll pin there. We're going to pop that out. I don't have my roll pin punches here, so I'll use some improvised tools. Okay, so that's loose. There's your shaft. Let's see if we can get you right inside there. Maybe with some light. See if we can see in there. Okay, there's that shaft. Now we got to, oh, this is going to be difficult here. I'm trying to hold a GoPro, trying to hold a flashlight, and see, we're going to rotate this to well, let's get her in the right gear here first, maybe. There's that little nub there, sits inside your selector lever. You get that rotated, and you can slide that shaft clean out of there. Let's go back up here. Let's see if I can get that now. That's exactly where I wanted that. There's an easy way and a hard way, and well, I'm fighting, so I don't remember the easy way. There she is. Okay, so you pull that out, and you can pull that thing clean off the hubs there. So, I want to keep this bell housing handy. Because we're going to put this back in there to take it apart a little further. There she goes. Don't want anything to fall out. So make sure it's the right way as well. That's to the top. this point, I'd say get yourself a good set of snap ring pliers. I don't even have a good set of snap ring pliers, but it's going to come apart anyway. Ah, yep. Feels good. A snap ring, a shim. Okay, we're going to stop right there and start on this one then. There she goes. Stubborn, stubborn, stubborn. Again, having the right tools is definitely helpful. So close. And there you have it, the door's closed. We got another one of those snap rings on this bearing. May end up with these pliers again. There's special tools you can buy for these, and if I did this for a living, I would have those special tools. Apparently I still do this way too much, because here I am again. Now that bearing's got to come off of there. They are a press fit, but they're a pretty loose press fit. So forgive my ignorance on what you're about to see here. Now, I'm not pounding on the outer race, I'm hitting the inner race to get this bearing to move. All right, well, that caveman method, it did work. There's nothing proud about that, but here we are. I plan to put new bearings in this thing anyway. It's got a little click in it. You're not going to be able to hear it on there, but just got a little click in it, and that's that's probably from just removing it. Then we're back to these damn snap rings again. And some of these snap rings are made with a taper on them. So if you're a novice like me, make sure these tapers go so you can actually remove the damn things again, or the next guy who gets into this transmission can remove these snap rings again. If you put them on the wrong way, his or her tool is going to keep slipping off, and you know, they probably got the right tool, not like that pile of junk, but they're going to keep skipping off of there and not be able to remove these snap rings to remove all the other parts. Oh yeah. Once you get past this part, the rest of the transmission is really not that terrible to take apart with basic hand tools. Okay, that is as far as I'm going with this shaft right now. Now we can take these apart. So what I'm doing is flipping them over upside down. So they go, whoa, look at that. There's a shim and a spacer. And that's where that snap ring came from. So I can't really flip that upside down just because it's so awkward. So I'll put them all the way they came out. This just wiped off the magnet in there, so I mean there's some metal wear in there. Back down she goes. There it is. This video is probably more for my benefit than any of yours, but if it helps you out, I'm glad. Now we run into that. So that's not a huge problem because we can pull the other main shafts out the front side now and that gear will drop off. I could pull that off as well, but I'm not sure I want to fight with another snap ring at this moment. We've got another spacer here. So it's going to go in there. And let's make a little more room so I can lay this thing back down. That there goes on the end here. It's just to keep oil from leaking. You push it in when you put your slip joint in there. Slip yoke, rather. Like I told you before, I am not a professional. So please take everything I do at your own risk. So now this guy here and this guy here hold your shift forks, your shift rail in place. Don't loosen them if you're not planning on taking this thing apart. I got half my tools under the truck again. Yep. There is a bit of Loctite on there. See if that cluster shaft will come out or not. Okay, so I threw a little bit of heat onto this bolt and the top bolts. Those are the ones that hold your shift rail in. And now I'll be able to move both shafts pretty soon. There's a little bit I got to take apart inside. As soon as I can get this cluster shaft out of there, then I'll be able to get the other shaft out. Or let's rethink this a little and find the tool I just had. There's a little spring-loaded E-clip inside here, and that holds this bolt in. Holds the shift linkage to it. Ooh. And I'm just trying to remember how everything comes apart. Like I said, I don't build these. And those teeth are sharp, so I hope I'm not bleeding. I may just have to get that clip off and everything will fall out. There it goes. I lost my little detent on that too. So that's the one holding the shift selector linkage. Get my screwdriver back. should slide out. So that's that shift selector linkage. That's your cluster shaft. Hanging up on the gear on the back, that's what's holding it. So that's those amp billet shift forks, bronze shift pads. Got carbon fiber synchros in here. That's that little spring E-clip that goes through here and holds that guy on there. So I'll put it on there so I don't lose them. I'm going to do this in a couple sections, so this will be T45 teardown part 1, and I'm going to go through all the parts on the bench there. I'll probably end up taking everything off of this main shaft, see if I can find a reason why this thing's whining. And if you've made it this far, thanks for watching, and don't be afraid to dig into something. If you can't fix it, someone else can. Alright, so I was initially going to tear down this main shaft and put that in at the end of this video or in part 2, but I can't really see anything wrong. There's nothing glitchy in these bearings or anything, so we're going to leave that all assembled. I am going to put new bearings on the back here and on the front. The new input shaft is on its way with a new bearing here, so a cluster shaft to get a new bearing there and there as well. So that being said, I found a bit of a problem here. On the left is the original 10 spline input shaft that came out of this transmission originally, and it looks really good. It's in awesome shape. I'm hoping the camera will pick all this up here. This one it's got some scarring in them teeth. Like the teeth are real sharp. Oh, let's see if I can get a good video of it. We got a bit of sunlight coming in there, that might help. See along that edge there, it's chewed up. So I've got a new 26 spline input shaft on its way. Cluster shaft is still good. It's got a little bit of marking on it, but it's still good. I'm going to throw that back in. This one's going to go back in the spare transmission I've got, and you know, we'll use it maybe one day in emergency cases if need be. But until I get my new parts, I'm kind of stuck here.